What's cracking? What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So here we go. Round two. Last night during the live, we'll recap. During the live, a lot of people were asking, did I see the band's diss track to Lefty? Didn't see it. I said after the live I'll watch it. Gunner and I watched it. We've both put out videos. We put them out last night. And, social media is a super trip. For real, it's a super duper trip. So I've earned the reputation, at least amongst the raza, for years of being unbiased. I always give respect where respect's due. I give credit where credit's due. But this north-south bullshit, it really fucks with some people's heads. It makes them forget everything else and focus on one thing, and that's fine. It is what it is. If we go back to when Bands was on No Jumper, I said, hey, it was a decent interview, man. It wasn't very disrespectful at all. I had no problem with it. I thought that was a decent interview. But then this song comes out, right? And I'm sticking to my guns. It's funny how there's people that are like, you don't know nothing about hip hop. I was born in 1974. First hip hop album came out after I was born. I grew up with hip hop. Hip hop is the soundtrack to my life. So save all that. And as far as dissing, people are like, well, Kendrick said this about Drake, and Drake said this, and Tupac said this. And I made it clear in my video last night. Raza, do not do what was done in that song, what Bands did. And people are saying, oh, Lefty said that his mom doesn't like Northerners coming down, and somehow that means it's fair play to show her face and then talk about having sex with her. Now, let's get to the underlying tones that I don't think, this is when I say a lot of times in my videos, and this is going to piss people off, but I'm being straight up right here. This is why when people say, why do you talk slow? Why do you pause? Because I've been around killers. You're not frivolous with your mouth. Imagine being around some killers on the yard, right? Or on the streets, righteous killers, shooters, gangsters, right? And you're having a conversation with them, private conversation, and you're talking about somebody from a rival faction, right? And you're talking about that person's mother. That person knows who you are and you're from a rival faction. That woman dislikes you because you're from a rival faction. And you tell these gangsters you're kicking it with that you're going to go fuck her doggy style. How? She's not going to give it to you. You're going to have to take it, right? That's how every gangster's going to look at it like, the fuck you talking about doing? That's the way it hit my ears. You guys can look at it however you want, but the way it hit my ears is she's never going to lay down with nobody like that. So how does that happen? People are going to say, oh, you're reaching. Hey, again, people get frivolous with their words and allow other people to interpret what's really being said. Do I think Bands is that type of dude? No. But does that line seem very weird? Absolutely. To my ears, it does. I don't care about the whole he went and filmed it in Southern California in the SGV and Bowling and Baldwin Park and all that. I don't care about all that. This is something that people do nowadays, right? And I want to say that I'm not surprised, but I am. I'm really surprised at how many people are in the comment section talking about that's cool. There's more saying it's not, but there's a lot saying that lines like that in a song are cool. I don't know, Holmes. I don't know how the raza are brought up nowadays. But if that's how they're conducting themselves with their mouth, I really advise you to not go to prison. And if you do go to prison, keep talking like that. Don't change. That's who you are now. Be that in there. Talk like that around some gangsters. You know, if people were saying, well, you know, when you come into our culture, you know, anything goes. No. I mean, I apologize. I guess yes for the youngsters. I have never in my life heard anybody talk about an enemigo's mom like that. I'm telling you, the immediately Vatos would have been like, how the fuck you plan on getting it though? You know what I'm saying? Like in their mind, they would have been like, that's some weird shit right there. The fact that bands went into the same store, you know, I don't know where the bridge was, you know, and then the spray painting. Hey, they did that. I didn't see that as a diss track that was a career ender. I thought it was something like I said last night. It was made to humiliate, right? And I just, you know, like I feel like there's it could have been looked at as like, damn, he roasted him, except for the line about the mom and showing the mom. And people are like, oh, well, she shouldn't have been on Duno's thing. Why? If you go to Duno and you go to the video Duno did with Lefty, it was about his life. It was had family in there, right? It's weird, ain't it? Social media is so weird. People are so tough behind keyboards, and they're the ones that they never show their face. Their name's not known, and they're the toughest ones, man. You know, it's like I really, really believe that something is going to come of this. And I think it's going to come fast. That's just what my gut's telling me. And I hope I'm wrong, man. I really do. You know, I always say I'm not for violence. I don't condone violence no more. Violence is a breakdown of communication, but at this point there is none. You know, and it's funny because people are saying, oh, what Lefty? And then they're telling me that I'm biased and I'm all for Lefty because he shouted me out. That's not the first time Lefty shouted me out, you guys. Maybe it's the first time you saw it or heard it. It's not the first time he shouted me out. And no matter what, I'm right down the line on everything. What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong. And people are saying, oh, well, he kicked it off. This is, man, I remember, wasn't there a song like 17 Reasons? And I think that whole album was blacks and Northerners disrespecting the South. You got to remember, dudes in Southern California don't even think about. There's no Northerners down here. But up there, they're Southerners. So they've been dissing the South this whole time. And Lefty's the biggest name out there. And so that's why everybody, no, don't get me wrong. He did diss them. Bozo did diss them. And you got to lay in the bed that you make. But it's the people that are making the statements. It's not their family. So what's next? People going to go after people's kids next? If they happen to take a picture with their kid on IG, is that legit now? Or you can go, hey, you shouldn't have put them on social media. Okay. I would hope that people around certain people, when you start talking about the women in their family, that somebody would step up and be like, hey, that's a bad look. At least Raza should be saying, hey, that's not the get down. Never has been. I don't know if these Edgar haircuts like did something to people's brains. Like, man, I don't know. I've heard other songs. I went and listened to a few other songs, and bands can actually rap. And this whole, like, you know, like I said last night, that this song was based off of a children's story by Slick Rick. The original is, the beat is Slick Rick, a children's story. It was great in the 80s. And, you know, he came in on it and he was just, there was some funny stuff. You know, it was a comedy until it turned into that. And then it was like, it shut my mind down to where I was like, and, you know, listen, like I said, all you guys in the comments that are saying that's legit and it's fair play and this and this and that, we're going to see. One person's idea of fair play is not the next. I do not know. It's one thing when you and a friend are clowning and you do the mama jokes. It's a completely different thing when enemies start talking about family. I know a lot of men. I know a lot of killers that if somebody says something about them, it's like, whatever. And as soon as they mention that person's daughter or son or mother, it's not a whatever. The game changed. It went to something else. Families have been off limits to raza in the gangster world for a long time. It's a very, very rare occasion when, I'm just going to use a term and I'm not going to get into it. People have heard of a green light and then there's a hard green light. It's very rare when there's a hard green light. Those that know what that really means, and that's for a reason. So all you cats that been on the streets your whole life and didn't have to go behind the walls, hey, I'm proud that you were smarter than me. But unfortunately, it's put you at a disadvantage when you believe and you think that even your own behind the walls are going to be okay with people talking about fucking other people's moms. Straight up. Something's going to happen. I don't know when. I don't know what. I don't know any of the people involved. I'm right here. I'm a content creator, but I'm just saying, raza, let's do better. You don't want to get caught up in justifying those type of actions, those type of words, because if you do and you get around the wrong people, they may put you in a certain category. Something may happen and you don't know why it happened. It's because you were frivolous. We're going to have our popcorn. We're going to see it. I hope that this, you know, I'm still wondering about this thing in A-Town with Bozo. I'm hoping that, especially after this, because tempers are so high right now. Frustration is so high right now that right there could be what they call a powder keg. It could be ugly. That little town could be the starting point of something that changes. You know, I can't even look at. This is I just to a lot of people, they're like, oh, it's just rap. It's not rap when you go that far. It's not for raza, period. And I sat and I last night I was in bed and I was going through YouTube and I just kept thinking about it. And I said, you know what? Hold on. I put my phone down. I was laying there and I was like, really trying to think, have I ever in all my years incarcerated, have I ever heard, and I don't use these terms, but I'm going to use it here. Have I ever heard a norteño ever be disrespectful while I was incarcerated? And it took me a while to remember one single dude. One. The raza in there, it didn't matter what time it was, wartime, like it always respectful to everyone. And it took me, it was one place, it was two dudes, right? And it was a dude. So in New Folsom, Old Folsom was a level 2. New Folsom's the level 4. And they would throw dudes that were in Old Folsom that got in trouble. They would throw them in New Folsom at stake with us. And it was a level 2 northerner. And he used to yell out the door, disrespecting, cell soldiering, right? And there was another one upstairs. And one of their people who had some say moved to our section, nipped it in the bud immediately. And he got at the raza from Southern California, and he said, I wasn't aware. I'm here now. And back then, that was the only yard in the state, a facility. And New Folsom was the one that was like a PC yard, right? And he straight out said in his weed line, any northerner conducting themselves that way in front of me will find a cell on a facility. There's certain codes of conduct. There's respect that's always shown. I don't know. This hip hop thing seems like it's really gotten to people's heads to make them forget. And, you know, hey, it is what it is. But like I said, I mean, I've done time with a lot of northerners, man. I've been on 2 different yards with northerners. Been in that SIG. I've been in the shoe with northerners. Very respectful people. Everybody in those settings are, for the most part. When you're around killers, there's a respect level there. You know, shout out to the Prison Guard channel, Hector. Hector just did a video the other day, and he said the most respectful place he's ever been was on a level 4. You're around people that will kill you for nothing. There's going to be a level of respect there. And maybe I'm just, you know, the times have changed so much that, you know, people can just say whatever they want out here. But I don't know. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. It is what it is. If people are going to think that I'm biased because I don't like, I'm going to tell you right now, and that's on my mom's rest in peace. If Lefty would have talked about Band's mom, if any of these vatos, any of these Southerners would have fucking said anything about any Northerners' moms, I would have said the same fucking thing. You do not do that. There's a certain professionalism that the raza are supposed to always conduct themselves with. I don't care if it's rap or it's on the prison yard. There's a certain professionalism that people are expecting, especially when you have decided to make yourself a poster child for your group. It is what it is, though, man. We'll see. We're going to see what happens. Meantime, everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.